I have been trying to decide whether to make this video for 3 weeks now. Not because I did not know what to say, because I knew exactly what to say, and I was not sure you were ready to hear it. But I am 93 years old, and I have buried a husband and 2 close friends in the last 4 years, and I have run completely out of reasons to stay quiet about the things that matter. So here it is, plain and simple, and without any decoration. None of it matters. Not the way you think it does. Not the career, not the house, not the money you saved or the money you spent, or the title they gave you, or the opinion the world had of you on your best day. None of it. And I know you have heard some version of that before and nodded along, and then gone right back to worrying about all of it. I did the same thing for years, so I am not going to just tell you it does not matter. I am going to tell you what I saw at the end of the people I loved most. What was actually in the room with them, what they reached for, what they said, because that is the only evidence that counts, and most people never get close enough to it to let it change them. I have been close enough, too many times, and I am telling you the truth about what I saw. My husband Gerald died 7 years ago at 89. We had been married for 61 years. 61 years in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, arguing about the thermostat and the grocery list, and which route to take on road trips we had taken 100 times. 61 years of ordinary life pressed up against each other. In his last days, when the lucid moments were becoming shorter and the gaps between them longer, there were things he did not remember. He did not remember the name of the company he had worked for 30 years. He did not remember the address of the house he grew up in. He did not always remember what year it was or what day. But he always remembered my name. Every single time I walked into that room, he said my name. Not hello, my name. Like saying it was the same as being safe. Like my name in his mouth was the whole world still making sense. That is what 61 years of showing up looks like at the end. That is what love stored in the body looks like when the mind starts letting things go. It holds on to the person. It holds on to the person long after it has let go of everything else. I want to tell you about my closest friend, a woman named Vivian, who I met in 1961 at a church choir rehearsal, where neither of us could carry a tune and we both knew it, and that shared dishonesty bonded us immediately. Vivian was brilliant and ambitious and beautiful, and she built a life that looked from the outside like something from a magazine. She raised 3 children, ran a small business for 20 years, volunteered, organized, achieved, contributed. She was the kind of woman people described as remarkable, without quite knowing how to be more specific than that. She was remarkable. I loved her completely. Vivian got sick at 79 and was gone by 81. In the last months, I visited her every week. We would sit in her bedroom, her in the bed and me in the chair beside it, and we would talk the way you can only talk when time has become visibly finite. No more polite conversation, no more circling around things, just the truth said plainly, between two women who had known each other long enough that honesty felt like a relief rather than a risk. And one afternoon she said something to me that I have thought about almost every day since. She said, "Evelyn, I spent so much energy being impressive. I wish I had spent more of it being close." Being impressive versus being close. That is the whole thing. That is the entire lesson wrapped in 6 words, and it cost Vivian 80 years of living to get there, and I am giving it to you right now for free, and I need you to actually receive it. Vivian had a scarf she had bought on a trip to Paris in 1978. Deep burgundy, silk, the kind of beautiful object that makes you feel like yourself when you wear it. She wore it on every occasion that mattered to her for 40 years. She asked me to wear it to her funeral. I did. And standing there at her graveside with that scarf around my neck, I thought, this woman touched so many people so deeply and spent so many years worried about whether she was enough. And the answer was always yes. It was always completely yes. And she never fully believed it. She was always one more achievement away from believing it. She did not make it to the achievement that was finally going to be enough. Nobody does. I have seen this at the end of more lives than I can count now, because I am 93, and that is simply what happens when you live this long. You become a witness. You sit beside people in their last weeks and their last days, and you see what rises to the surface when everything else has been stripped away. And I can tell you with the certainty of someone who has sat in that chair more times than she ever expected to, that what rises is never the resume. It is never the bank balance. It is never the award on the wall, or the recognition from strangers, or the argument they won, or the point they proved. What rises is faces, names, moments, a kitchen on a Sunday morning, a child's laugh that happened once in 1987 and somehow survived everything, a hand that held theirs in a dark room, a voice on the telephone, the small, specific, unremarkable evidence that they were loved and that they loved in return. That is all that is left at the end. That is all that was ever real. I watched this truth present itself across my entire lifetime, and I watched people receive it and then set it aside because the world kept insisting that the other things mattered more. I watched the women of my mother's generation pour themselves out for their families and never once ask what they needed, and arrive at old age wondering who they had been beneath all the giving. I watched the generation after mine chase liberation and identity and achievement with tremendous force and arrive at the same question from a different direction. Who was I to the people who loved me? Did they feel it? Did I show it clearly enough? Was I present enough in the ordinary moments to leave something real behind? Those are the questions. They have always been the questions. Every generation just finds a different way to avoid asking them until the end. Here is what I know. And I am telling you this as a woman who has made mistakes in every direction, who was sometimes too busy and sometimes too proud. and sometimes too afraid of my own tenderness to let it be seen clearly. Closeness is a practice. It is not a feeling you either have or do not have. It is a daily choice to turn toward the people you love instead of away from them. It is putting the phone down when someone is talking to you. It is saying, "I am proud of you" out loud, instead of assuming they know. It is calling for no reason, showing up when it is inconvenient, sitting in the room even when there is nothing to say, especially when there is nothing to say, because your presence is its own language, and it says things that words cannot reach. And here is the part that I need you to hear most clearly. You do not have to wait until the end to understand this. That is what is different about your situation and mine. I am 93. My understanding has a different weight than yours because I have less distance between me and the moment when it will all become obvious. But you are standing at a place in your life where this understanding, if you let it in right now, can actually change the shape of your days, can change what you reach for in the morning, can change who you call and what you say, and how much of yourself you bring to the people who need you. You can know this now and live differently because of it. That is a gift I did not fully accept until I was much older than you are. I am asking you not to waste it the way I did. Think about the people who would be in the room with you at the end, if you were lucky enough to have people in the room. Not colleagues, not acquaintances, not the people who knew your professional reputation, the people who know your actual self, the ones who have seen you on bad days and difficult mornings and ordinary nothing is happening Tuesdays and chose to stay anyway. Are you giving those people enough of you? Are you turning toward them with the same energy you bring to everything else? Are they in any doubt about how much they matter to you? Because at the end, when everything else falls quiet and the world gets very small and very simple, those are the only people in the room. And what you will want more than anything is to know that they knew, that you said it clearly and often and without reservation, that they are not wondering, that you left no room for doubt. Gerald said my name every time I walked through that door. Every single time. That is what I am keeping. That is what I am carrying out of a life that had plenty of hard moments and difficult years and things I would do differently. He said my name like it was the answer to a question he had been asking all day. And I said his right back. That is the one thing. It was always only ever the one thing. Go say their name. Today. Not tomorrow. Today.